We're going to tell you a little history about the Oviedo area and the history of Jamestown. Stay tuned and learn more about Florida. Welcome back to Local Love, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of Jamestown Colored School and AME Church. Education in formal school settings wasn't offered to former slaves or their families until around 1886 in Orange County. In 1913, this area broke off of Orange County and became part of Seminole County area, and at that time, the county had 10 white schools and 8 schools for people of color. In 1918, Gabriella Colored School was one of 6 schools for people of color at that time in Oviedo. The first teacher and principal for the schools in 1930 was Ethel Burney. Originally, the nearest option to this was Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. This had been founded by relatives of former slaves that lived in the area prior to formal education being an option. Jamestown got its start next to Antioch Missionary Baptist Church as a one-room schoolhouse. It was located in an area of Gabriella, Florida, known as the Woods. At the time of conception and building it, they didn't have a name for the school, and so since the land was sold to so many of the people in that area by Benjamin and Esther James, the residents would frequently call it Jamestown. Ben James built St. James AME Methodist Church, named for him and his family, in 1938, and Louise Williams was the teacher here until the early 50s. But in 1951 to 52, the school was then joined into the current school system for Jackson Heights School in Oviedo. You can see the cornerstone that was placed by Ben James at the time of construction, and it is still here today. After stopping by this beautiful church and the school, the spirit of what it once stood for is still there today. Despite the building being in a state of disrepair, you can still imagine the students gathering here for their daily lessons and feeling the important history that was made in this small building. Now, as I look at this once beautiful church and school, I can see that there are plans for this to be turned into the historic Jamestown Colored School Museum, and I'm happy to see that this history will be preserved for all to learn the lessons of what history was like for people of that time. And to see how much we have evolved in modern times. Though all of this comes from a time when we had plenty of reasons not to feel pride for how people of color were treated differently and forced to be separated from other children. I, for one, know that these important pieces of history can still teach us all lessons of unity and love of our fellow women, men, and children. So even though I know we have a long ways to go to moving forward to equality of all people, I felt moved by this wondrous piece of history. So if you want more information on this, please go to the hjcsm.org, and then you can get updates on when this museum will be completed and ready to open to the public. Other sources that I used were the historycenter.org website, and I'll put the full link of where you can find this info on the screen for you. And you can learn even more from the book written in 2001 by Judith Dolores Smith. It was titled A Written and Pictorial History of the Oviedo Area Colored Schools. Alright guys, well I hope you've enjoyed this little glimpse back into our past, and thank you so much as always for tuning in to Local Love. We certainly appreciate you guys, and we hope that you're enjoying this little peek into what the past held for us, and hopefully it'll inspire you into a bright new future. Alright guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with all your friends.
And hit that bell so you know when we have a new video.